Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the most dangerous people you will ever meet do not look dangerous? That the real villains of this world do not hide in the dark, but walk among us, smiling, shaking hands, and speaking in the sweetest tones? Evil is a paradox. It does not come with horns and a pitchfork. It is subtle, charming, persuasive. It wears the mask of kindness while poisoning the soul, and if you cannot see it, you may already be under its spell. So let's lift the veil. Let's uncover the signs, the hidden marks of those who manipulate, deceive, and destroy, often without a single act of physical violence. By the end of this, you will not just understand evil. You will see it before it sees you. You see, evil is not a monster lurking in the shadows. It is a pattern, a way of being. It lives in the person who charms you while eroding your confidence. It hides in the friend who always takes but never gives. It thrives in the leader who speaks of unity but sows division. The first mark of such a person: deception. Not the innocent lies of everyday life, but a deep, deliberate bending of reality. These people shape stories not to inspire but to control. Their words are bait, their kindness is currency, their empathy is a performance. Then there is the absence of true connection. An evil person does not see others as living, feeling beings. They see only pieces on a chessboard, objects to move, use, discard. They mimic emotions but do not feel them. Watch their eyes, they sparkle when they win, but they dim when others suffer. And most importantly, they create chaos, not peace. They thrive where there is conflict because confusion gives them power. If someone always seems to be at the center of drama but never takes responsibility, beware. They are not victims of fate. They are architects of destruction. Now, the greatest trick of an evil person is to convince you they do not exist, that the world is simple, and only fools believe in darkness. But once you recognize their patterns, you will never unsee them. Yet do not fear them. Fear gives them power. See them for what they are, and they become powerless. The antidote to evil is not hatred but wisdom. And with wisdom you will walk through this world untouchable, free. The question is, are you ready to open your eyes? The most dangerous people in the world are not the ones who snarl, who rage, who openly declare their malice. No, the real threat is far more insidious. It is the one who smiles at you, who offers warmth, who makes you feel understood only to twist the trust into a weapon. You see, deception is not just about telling lies, it is about creating illusions. The truly manipulative do not force their will upon you. They make you believe it was your choice all along. A trickster's smile is a work of art. It is carefully designed to disarm you, to make you lower your guard. Their words are honeyed, their presence inviting. They study you, learning your desires, your fears, your insecurities. And when the moment is right, they plant ideas so subtly that you mistake them for your own. They will flatter you just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to make you feel whole. Because a whole person is harder to control. They never reveal themselves through obvious cruelty. Instead, they use small, calculated moments of control. They will withdraw affection just to make you chase it. They will let a secret slip, something that seems in it to make you believe you are special, only for you to later realize they have done the same with everyone. If you ever question them, they will not fight you. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, they will make you doubt yourself. You're imagining things, they'll say. You're overreacting. Slowly your reality bends to their will, and you become a character in a story they are writing. And here lies the greatest trick of all. Even when you suspect them, you hesitate. Because they are so charming, so likable, so convincing. Because no one who smiles like that, speaks like that, carries themselves with such ease could possibly be dangerous. But that is exactly why they are. Before you can recognize evil in others, you must first recognize the potential for it within yourself. This is the truth people avoid, the uncomfortable realization that what we call evil is not some external force that exists apart from us. It is woven into the human experience. The greatest trick the mind plays is to convince itself that evil is always somewhere else, in someone else, in the monster of history, in the criminals on the news, in the nameless villains we point at from a safe distance. But rarely do we ask, if I had been born in a different time, under different circumstances, would I have been so different from those I now condemn? You see, evil is not always intentional. Most of it arises not from malice, but from ignorance. It is the result of fear, of a need for control, of an unchecked hunger for power. And when people do not face their own darkness, they become ruled by it. They justify their cruelty as necessity. They twist reality to serve their own ego. They harm, not because they think they are evil, but because they believe themselves to be righteous. Some of the worst atrocities in history were not committed by villains, but by people who truly believed they were doing what was right. This is why spotting evil is not just about studying others, it is about understanding yourself. The person who insists they have no shadow is the most dangerous of all, because they are blind to the harm they cause. They project their own darkness onto the world, seeing enemies where there are none, attacking ghosts of their own making. And so, to see clearly, you must start from within. You must acknowledge your capacity for deception. for selfishness, for harm. Not to be consumed by it, but to be free of its unconscious grip. Because only when you have faced your own shadow can you truly recognize the shadows in others. The most effective manipulation is the kind you never notice. It is not the shouted command or the overt threat, but the quiet suggestion, the carefully placed doubt, the gentle twisting of your own perceptions until you no longer trust yourself. The truly dangerous individuals in this world do not control others through force, they control through influence. They do not need to break you, they simply make you believe you are already broken. This kind of manipulation begins subtly. It does not announce itself. It works through small, almost invisible gestures, changes in tone, pauses in conversation, a sigh at just the right moment to make you question your own certainty. A master manipulator does not tell you that you are wrong outright. They let you arrive at that conclusion yourself. They plant the seed of doubt, water it with well-timed silence, and wait for it to take root in your mind. Over time, you begin to second-guess your instincts. You hesitate before speaking your truth. And the moment you hesitate, they have already won. The most frightening thing about subtle manipulation is that it does not feel like control. It feels like guidance. It feels like wisdom. A manipulator will always position themselves as your eye, your confidant, the one who sees the world clearly when you cannot. And so, when they contradict you, it does not feel like an attack. It feels like a favor. I'm only telling you this because I care, they will say, while pulling you further into their web. And because you want to believe in their kindness, you let them lead you away from your own intuition. This is why the most effective manipulators are not the ones who seem powerful, but the ones who seem indispensable. They make you feel as if you need them to navigate the complexities of life. They rewrite your story in a way that serves them while making you think it was your story all along. And by the time you realize what has happened, you are no longer sure where their thoughts end and yours begin. There is a certain emptiness in the truly evil, a hollowness that is difficult to describe but impossible to ignore. At first glance, they may seem normal, even extraordinary. They can be charming, intelligent, accomplished. They can hold conversations about art, philosophy, love, and morality. They may appear generous, supportive, even kind. But beneath it all, there is a fundamental absence, a disconnection from life itself. This is not the same as apathy or depression, which are struggles of the soul searching for meaning. No, this is something colder. The person who is truly dangerous does not experience life in the same way as others do. They do not feel the deep resonance of beauty or the quiet weight of sorrow. They do not form real connections, only strategic alliances. When they laugh, it is calculated. When they show sympathy, it is rehearsed. Their emotions, if they exist at all, are not responses to life, but tools to achieve an effect. This is why they are so difficult to spot. They study emotions like a language, not because they feel them, but because they know others do. They learn when to offer a comforting word, when to feign outrage, when to shed a single tear all performances in a carefully constructed play. And yet, if you watch closely, there is always something missing. Their words do not quite match their eyes. Their concern lacks warmth. Their anger lacks depth. It is as if they are imitating life rather than living it. This disconnection is what allows them to manipulate without remorse, to betray without hesitation, to destroy without guilt. To them, people are not people, they are assets, obstacles, or entertainment. They do not care about suffering unless it interferes with their desires. And because they do not care, they are capable of anything. If you have ever met someone who seems to drain the life out of a room despite their outward charm, who leaves you feeling inexplicably hollow after an interaction, you have encountered this absence. It is not always visible at first, but once you recognize it, you will never mistake it again. The moment you fear evil, you have already given it power. This is its greatest weapon, not brute force, not intelligence, but the ability to make you shrink, to make you question yourself, to make you feel small in its presence. Fear is the leash that binds people to the will of manipulators, to the influence of those who thrive on control. The truly dangerous do not need to raise their voice or lift a finger. They simply need to exist in a way that makes others doubt their own strength. But fear itself is an illusion, a construct of the mind. It is not reality, it is merely a projection of what could be. The evil person operates in this space, not through direct action, but through suggestion. They do not need to tell you they are powerful, they let you assume it. They do not need to threaten you, they let your own mind imagine the consequences of resisting them. They understand that once fear takes root, it will do their work for them. To break free, you must first see fear for what it is, a trick of perception. You must recognize that their power is not real, it is borrowed, taken from the insecurities of those around them. Evil cannot survive in the presence of clarity. It thrives in confusion, in hesitation, in the spaces where people forget their own strength. The moment you stop reacting with fear, the illusion collapses. And this is the paradox of evil. It seems all-powerful until you stop believing in its spell. The manipulator loses their grip the moment you refuse to be controlled. The deceiver becomes exposed the moment you trust your own perception. The tyrant loses his throne the moment people see through the lie. Evil only exists where people allow it to exist. So to truly recognize an evil person, you must first recognize your own freedom. You are not trapped. You are not weak. You are not at their mercy. The moment you understand this, they become powerless and you free. Evil has always been a concept shrouded in mystery, a force people imagine lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. We grow up with stories of villains, of monsters, of figures so obviously wicked that they are easy to recognize. And yet, in real life, evil rarely looks the way we expect. It does not announce itself. It does not come with a warning. It does not wear black cloaks or whisper sinister threats. Instead, it moves silently, slipping unnoticed into conversations, friendships, institutions, often disguised as something good. This is the great illusion, that evil is something external, something separate from us. That it exists only in dictators, criminals, and the obvious wrongdoers of history. But the most dangerous forms of evil are not loud, not violent, not even immediately threatening. They are subtle, reasonable, persuasive. They come with smiles and good intentions. They hide behind noble causes, behind the language of progress, behind the illusion of righteousness. And because of this, they are far harder to detect. An evil person rarely sees themselves as such. In fact, the most effective manipulators often believe they are the heroes of their own story. They justify every action, every betrayal, every moment of deception with a higher purpose. They tell themselves they are protecting, guiding, leading. They do not see the harm they cause, because to them, it is not harm, it is necessity. And because they believe in their own illusions, they make others believe in them too. This is why spotting evil is so difficult. It does not always look cruel or violent. Sometimes it looks intelligent, charismatic, even inspiring. It is the friend who always seems to have your best interests at heart, while slowly eroding your confidence. It is the leader who speaks of unity, while subtly turning people against each other. It is the mentor who offers guidance only to tighten their grip until you can no longer think for yourself. To see evil clearly, you must first let go of the illusions surrounding it. You must stop expecting it to look like a villain from a story. It does not stand apart from the world, it moves within it, unnoticed until it is too late. Evil, in its truest form, is never where you expect it to be. It does not come with a warning, nor does it always appear in the shape of an enemy. More often than not, it hides in plain sight behind charm, behind intelligence, behind the carefully constructed masks of those who know exactly how to manipulate perception. And this is why so many fail to see it until it is too late. But now you see. Now you know. The signs are there not in dramatic gestures, but in the quiet erosion of truth, the slow manipulation of trust, the calculated detachment of those who seek control rather than connection. They deceive with kindness, they ensnare with logic, and they operate in the shadows of doubt. Yet there is a simple truth that dissolves their power: awareness. The moment you recognize these patterns, you become immune to their influence. The moment you stop fearing them, they lose control. Evil does not thrive in strength, it thrives in ignorance, in hesitation, in the belief that you are powerless. But you are not, and so walk with open eyes. Trust your intuition. Recognize the subtle tricks, the quiet manipulations, the hollow smiles. And when you see them, do not engage with hatred or fear. Simply see them for what they are. Because once you do, they can no longer touch you.